Hi everyone, this is Mr. Chang, and in this video we're going to take a look at for loops that count up and down in Lua. Previously we learned about while loops and repeat until loops, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at a new loop called a for loop. Now let's go ahead and create a staircase that counts 5 steps going up. And with a for loop we're going to also use the stepper variable, and the stepper variable is going to work a little bit differently than before because we're going to initialize the stepper variable in the for loop declaration, as well as specify the min and or max value of the stepper variable also in the loop declaration. So let's go ahead and try a very simple example of a for loop. So I'm going to go ahead and add a script here. And I'm going to test out a simple for loop here. And I'm going to say for I equal 1, 5, do, and then I'm going to print I. And let's go ahead and run this code here. Take a look here, and if you look at the output down here in the output window, we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so a for loop executes a block of code the number of times from the starting value to the ending value. So first off here, we've got 4. We have the stepper variable. We have the name for it. I chose I here. Equal 1, and that's the starting value, comma, and then 5 here is the ending value. Now the condition that's checked, if you recall from while loops and repeat until loops, is I less than or equal to 5, where I is the current value of the stepper variable. The scope, meaning where the variable exists, of the stepper variable I is only within the code block of the for loop. So in other words, it only exists between the do and the end. Also notice that we do not use the keyword local when creating the stepper variable. We simply just say for I equal 1. Now by default, the stepper variable increases by 1 once the code block finishes executing. So again, notice that right before the end here, unlike the repeat until and the while loop, we don't have, let's say, I is equal to I plus 1. Now let's go ahead and trace how the stepper variable changes on each iteration through the loop. So again, the starting point here is for I equal 1. The ending value there is 5. And behind the scenes, the condition that's being created automatically is I less than or equal to this maximum number here, which in this case is 5. So in other words, the starting value again would be 1. The condition would be 1 less than or equal to 5. And the value of that is true. So then the value of I automatically gets incremented. So then we go from 1 to 2. Now let's go ahead and continue tracing this out. So we've got 2 less than or equal to 5. That is true. And so then we automatically increment by 1. So now we have 3. We have 3 over here. Condition here is 3 less than or equal to 5. That condition is also true. We go up by 1 automatically, so that's 4. And so now we have 4 less than or equal to 5. That is still true. And we go 4 plus 1 is 5. And then we have 5 down here. We have 5 less than or equal to 5, which is still true. And the stepper variable does still go up by 1. So now we've got 6. And we've got 6 over here. And now we have our condition, but 6 less than or equal to 5 is now false. And so therefore, the loop ends. All right, so now let's try to create some steps using this idea of a for loop. So we're going to go back into Roblox Studio. And let's go ahead and modify our script over here. So let's go ahead and add some positions. We have position X equal to 0. We have position Y is equal to 0.5. And then we've got local local position z equal minus 20. So again, these are the x, y, and z coordinates of our starting block here. And now let's go ahead and create a new part for each step. So we've got our for loop here. So we've got I equal 1 to 5 do. And just like we've done before, we're going to create a new part from an instance. So we have local part equal Instance.new parts. And let's give the parts some unique names. So we've got stair. We'll use that stepper variable as the stair number. Let's have the shape of our part to be a block. Let's make the material equal to wood. And let's make our position, our vector 3 new of position X, position Y, and also position Z. Okay. All right. Now size, let's go ahead and create the size here. So we've got vector 3.new, and we'll make it a nice step size here of 8, 1, and 4. Let's make sure we anchor our part. Otherwise, they'll kind of drop to the ground here. And last but not least, let's parent our part to the workspace. All right, so let's give this a try here. And notice here that we only have one block so far. Okay, we do have 5 steps, but they are all currently on top of each other. So in order to make them climb, we do need a little bit more code here. So inside of the loop, again, we're going to increment our y to 4, and then we're going to make our z value by -4. So that's changing the location. So the y is going up and the z is kind of changing it going across there. Now to make it a little more interesting, let's also change the brick color every time our code loops here. So let's go ahead and play it here. And now we've got our steps here. Let's go up, 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 up. Steps, which is great. And we'll go down here. So again, the key here, going back to our script, is that you do need to change the position of both the Y and the Z in order for the steps to be in different places. Again, we've got 5 steps over here. All right, now I'll just kind of point out that another version of the for loop is where you can specify the stepper variable, increment or decrement. So for example, this code over here inside of my studio is equivalent to if I were to, let's say, go up by 1. Now, as I mentioned before, by default, a for loop will automatically increase by 1. So if I were to do this and I just put this 1 here, it would produce the same 5 steps going up here, because again, it goes up by default, it goes up by just 1 here. So I prefer using the shorthand with only, let's say, 1, 5 versus 1, 5, 1. You can feel free to use which version you like. They're both equivalent at the end of the day. So feel free to use which one you would like to. So again, the third argument there specifies the increment or decrement of the stepper variable. Now let's go ahead and build another staircase that's going to be right next to it so that we have a staircase that goes down. Now, a little different than before. Let's build the staircase going down by counting from 5 to 0. So we're going to use a for loop. And again, we're going to use that third argument here. So we're going to have for I equal 5, comma 0, comma -1. All right, so let's go ahead and trace how the stepper variable changes on each iteration through the loop. So again, our starting value is 5. Our condition is 5 greater than or equal to 0. And then we've got true. And again, we go down by 1, so that's 4. So let's continue tracing this here. So again, we've got 4 here. 4 is greater than or equal to 0. So that is true. We go down by 1, so that's 3. We have 3 here. Then we have 3 less than or equal to 0. That is also true. Go down by 1, that's 2. We have 2 here. 2 less than or equal to 0. That is also true. We go down by 1. So we have 1 here, 1 less than or equal to 0. That is also true. Okay, so 1 becomes 0. Bring the 0 here. 0 is greater than or equal to 0. That is still true. And now we have 0 minus 1, which is minus 1 here. So we have minus 1 here. And finally, we have minus 1 is not greater than or equal to 0. So that is false. And that is where our loop is going to end. All right, so let's go ahead and continue writing our code here. So we're going to create a new variable named staircase num so that we can continue creating unique part names. As you recall, the last name of the stair was stair 5. So we're going to use stair 6 inside of our code. So let's go back to our script here. And again, we're going to create another variable here. We're going to call it local staircase num equal to 6. And let's go ahead and this time around in the second loop, we're going to decrease the value of the position y because again, we were climbing before, but now we're going to go down. So we're going to decrease by 4. Now, notice here, if you kind of look at this picture before we actually code it, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps here. And to make it even going down, we're actually going to add another step going up. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this time around, we're actually going to create 6 steps versus initially we had 5 steps. And that's why we're counting down from 5 to 0 over here. All right, so let's go back to our code. And again, we're going to construct our for loop. This time we're going to count down. So we have -1 here, do, and we're going to do as we did before, we're going to create a new instance of part. And we're going to take the part name, except this time we're going to use the staircase num variable because we're starting with 6. Then we're going to, again, make the shape here. We're going to make the shape into a block again. And we'll make the material, make this also wood. And again, we need our position. So we've got vector 3, also position X, position Y, and position Z. Okay, same size as before. Vector 3.new 8, 1, and 4. We're also going to anchor our part. So we've got we're going to parent it again to our workspace. And again, this time it's going to be a little different because instead of going up, we're now going to go down. And this is occurring after we create that part. That's that block on top, as I mentioned before. And also let's continue with the Z value going down because our staircase is kind of going straight down. And then finally, let's make our staircase num go up That way, again, we have unique staircase names. All right, so let's give this a try here. And I think I have a little bit of an error in line 29. And I forgot vector3 new. Let's try that again. Always have to create a new vector3. All right, so let's try this now. Oops. I think I have another error here. Vector3. Let me see. Unable to assign position. Oops. That was parent. I have a couple typos every now and then. Let's try this again. And now if all goes well again, we're going up the stairs. This is our 6th step, which has gone up here. And then let's go down. So we did forget one line of code here because you notice our brick colors are all the same here. So let's go ahead and add that line of code as we did with the first staircase. We've now added our brick color random, like so. All right, so again, let's verify this here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones on top. Then we go down, 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 down here. So again, we've got over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th step is on top, right up here. And then we've got 5 going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. And again, each one of our staircase names is unique because we were adding that staircase num after 5, and then we went to 6, and then we added them to our part name. All right, I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.